Bodyline Affinity Deep Fill Filler and Affinity All-Purpose Stopper. Before starting any work, ensure you're wearing appropriate PPE for the task. Affinity Deep Fill Filler should be used for larger area repairs as it has a longer working time than other fillers. Begin by making sure that the whole area to be repaired is sanded back to the bare substrate with a P80 disc on a DA sander. Clean the surface with a solvent degreaser and pre-cleaning cloth. With the head of the mixing board closest to the body, mix the required amount of filler with 2% of the supplied hardener. This is the optimal amount when the ambient temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. For a temperature of 10 degrees, use 3%, and for a temperature of 30 degrees, use 1% hardener. Never place the hardener directly onto the filler because as soon as this happens, the working time begins. This product has a working time of between 5 minutes and 5 minutes 20 seconds. Mix the filler as shown towards the body so that the sheets don't peel off and without the spreader leaving the board, as lifting the filler could cause air pockets within the mix and lead to pinholing later in the repair. Always make sure the hardener has been fully mixed into the filler before commencing the application. If a marbling effect is observed, then the hardener is not yet fully mixed with the filler. Begin the application of wetting up the panel. Apply the filler to the whole surface to be repaired before removing it and placing it back on the mixing board. This process removes dust and metal particles from the surface, which still remained even after the cleaning with degreasers. This process leaves a residue which increases adhesion and decreases the likelihood of pinholing. These fine particles can clearly be seen in the filler. The filler can now be applied. Always apply using the flat side of the spreader and hold as shown. This ensures the optimum amount of pressure on the filler to achieve a smooth finish and to minimize the chances of air pocket inclusions. Apply filler to the whole area in small amounts, then use the long side of the spreader to manipulate the filler to the correct profile. Remove any excess filler from the surface. This will minimize the amount of sanding necessary in the next stage of the repair. Affinity Deep Fill Filler is sandable after between 12 and 15 minutes, depending on the size of the repair. Once dry, apply dry guide coat to the repair area to highlight any imperfections or areas that will require extra attention when sanding. Use a dust extraction block with a P80 strip to sand the repair to the correct profile. If a stopper is required, then Affinity All-Purpose Stopper can be used. Apply a solvent degreaser and wipe again to prepare the surface for the stopper. Mix the stopper using the same technique and mix ratio. This product has a working time of 5 minutes. Apply the stopper to the required area, a small amount at a time, and use sufficient pressure to ensure no air is trapped underneath. Use the long side of the spreader to manipulate this to the correct shape and remove any excess stopper to minimize the amount of sanding required. After 15 minutes, the stopper will have cured. It's important not to wait much longer than this before commencing sanding, as the filler will only become harder to sand. Apply dry guide coat to the surface to highlight any imperfections or areas which will require extra attention when sanding. Then use a P180 strip on a dust extraction block to sand to the final profile. Once complete, the panel will be ready for priming and painting. Affinity Deep Fill Filler is also available in a 1.3 litre dispenser cartridge. Using this provides the exact mix ratio of filler to hardener necessary. This demonstration shows the visible difference in colour that you'll notice when the wrong amount of hardener has been used. The board on the left has too much hardener, and this means the filler will cure much faster, and this could be before it's even been applied. The board on the right has the correct ratio. The filler on the left board is a lot more pink in colour. If the filler begins to cure before application, then you'll find that it drags across the surface as shown. If this was on a panel, it would need removing and starting again.